Everybody, how's everybody going tonight? For all you guys watching on the uh, replay, um, welcome. Glad you came here. And as soon as we get a few more people in here, going to just have a hey Ping, how are you tonight? We're just going to be hanging out and talking shop. Uh, all my recent videos have or live streams have been kind of on a negative tone about things going on with eBay, and that's not me. I don't want to be that guy. There's plenty of people here on YouTube complaining about eBay. So we're just going to talk shop tonight. Hey, we're going to have a special guest tonight, and we were going to try and do this with a little practice session before we got started. Hey, Christopher, how are you? We're about to be joined by another Christopher. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Christopher Painter. He's an old friend of mine. He owns a gemstone mine down in Georgia, and we're going to add him to the stream right now. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Good. How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good, man. I got a new setup here. And I got my screen over here, and I got my audio over here.
I got you.
Oh, so how's things been going for you out there, man?
Good.
Hey, Tina, welcome in. Chris mines star rose quartz. You get some good aquamarine there too.
Yep.
And occasionally you find a little bit of tourmaline.
Tourmaline, beryl. We found our first two pieces of pink tourmaline on our last machine dig.
Awesome.
We had
me some little green needle tourmaline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we intersected a pretty good sized vein of lepidolite, and I knew where that intersected the pegmatite we were going to find some color. Unfortunately, I knocked a tree down and hit a power line. So that kind of put a halt on our dig, but hopefully our next machine dig we'll be able to get some more out.
Yeah, Ping, I saw that there's another YouTuber who does reselling. He's big in the reselling community. His name is Kevin, and his channel is Commonwealth Picker. He put out a video today. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but the title of the video is Disney has banned reselling of their products.
Wow.
So, hey, believe it or not, a lot of companies have done that. And you go to post some stuff on eBay, and eBay kicks it off and gives you a Vero. Folks, the reason we have Chris on here is Chris is a treasure hunter just like me. He's an old gemstone miner, but he's just like me, also an old eBay seller. But so I understand that eBay's been slow for you lately.
Yeah, I guess it started in about June of last year. I went from good cash flow on eBay down to nothing.
Yeah, a lot of people, the fourth quarter for a lot of people was really slow, and a lot of people towards the end of the third quarter was really bad slow because that's when they implemented a whole bunch of new upgrades to their system. Quite honestly, I didn't see anything upgraded. They just created problems that didn't need to be created. That's good apple juice. Disney's going after crafters using their designs without licensing. You know, they used to call that fan art, and it didn't bother them. But Pockets and Stitches is here. But yeah, they didn't used to bother people with the fan art. But I think a lot of people are really pushing the boundaries of fan art. They're creating merchandise and profiting from it. So that's probably why they're cracking down on that stuff. But, if it hadn't been for a couple of high dollar items I've sold in the last couple of months, eBay just would have been terrible for me. But I recently opened up this week, I opened up my account finally. And I've been looking around on there, and they do stuff. other than just clothing and shoes. I could sell watches on there, but the kind of watches I sell, eBay's a better platform for it because they have more seller protection and buyer protection also.
Yeah, that was huge for me too, Rob. I sold a lot of gold on eBay.
Yeah.
I'd buy gold and remove the gemstones and repurpose those, and then sell the gold scrap. And some of it, I repair and sell on eBay, and that protection was huge for that part of it. So,
yeah, scammers out there, they try anything. They, say the item not as described and force a return, and then you get a rock or an empty box back, and they get their money back.
And as long as that tracking number hits your mailbox, they send it to you.
Pockets and stitches. I signed up on Poshmark, and I've got 5 or 6 things listed so far. I think with the Poshmark, what I'll post over there or list over there will be like really nice dress shoes, really nice cowboy boots, and things of that nature, higher end stuff for now. And I noticed, I got to looking around on there, Fenton Glass sells for a lot more money on Poshmark than it does eBay. I guess their market is not as flooded as eBay's. Chris, how long you been selling on eBay?
I think since 2002.
2002. So you've been on there a while.
A long time. Got a lot of good, positive. I've never had a negative feedback at all. And it was, it completely interrupted the cash flow of the whole business when they did what they did. So it's been pretty tough for me, last year and even going into this year. I did open an Etsy account, and they take a lot of your money on Etsy. But fortunately on Etsy, people will pay, big money for handmade jewelry. So the handmade jewelry I'm selling there now. I did look at Whatnot today. I don't know if that's something I'd be interested in. I don't know if I want to do a live auction.
I don't, sometimes I get tongue tied, or I go blank and I run out of things to say, and dead air on a live video is not a good thing. And it's one of the reasons I don't do Whatnot. Mountain State Pickers, Posh. I've got a few things listed. No sales yet. Sent out a couple of offers so far. Swamp Picker Glenn is here. How you doing tonight? The way I keep starting these things, I keep sipping on my apple juice. People are going to think I'm a lush. Let's see, who have we missed?
If y'all hear some snoring and growling, that's my bulldog. She's laying on the couch beside me. She's in her own world right now.
Yeah. I got a little Yorkie. She snores, and it's hilarious. Not so hilarious when she's sleeping on top of my head, though. There's a lot of things about that Poshmark I'm not real familiar with. I know a lot of people talk about the sharing is a problem. I'm online several times a day, checking my eBay, checking my messages. And for me, that sharing thing, it's 2 or 3 clicks of the mouse, and everything in my closet is shared. So it don't seem that big a problem to me. But I was thinking that, for selling mineral specimens on Instagram, you can start a Spotify store and sell directly to Instagram.
Yeah, I looked into that a little bit after we talked today, and I may do that. I may end up setting up an Instagram. I got a little bit of a following there on Instagram. So
yeah.
If I pull Instagram into my Facebook, I think that connects, those 15, 20,000 followers I've got on there into my Instagram too. So
brother, start posting some of them reels. When you find something down in the mine, make a little reel, post it right quick. it really helps drive people to your page, and then if you got a Spotify connected to your store or your account there.
Mm-hmm.
Shopify, not Spotify. Shopify. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate you. I don't know where I got Spotify from. But yeah, there's a lot of, eBay has done a lot of weird things over the past year, including the CEO or whoever he was actually making a public statement about getting away from smaller sellers and concentrating on helping the bigger and higher dollar sellers. And all the updates and all the things they've done since then, you can't just be a one-trick pony anymore. You've got to, if you're making a significant portion of your money selling online, you can't depend directly on eBay. At any second, they can shut your account down for any reason. Mm-hmm. I know twice in December they froze my assets, and the second time was the day after Christmas. It's like, come on, that's the holidays, and there's nothing wrong with my account. It's the same account I've had for this particular account is 15 years old, but I've been on eBay for 25 years. Same bank account, same home address, ship everything out on time, blah, blah. Everything is aces. I don't have any negative feedback. And, I don't know what their reasoning was. They told me it was random, but I know another guy, he had his account suspended for 3 days because he was selling a plush or some kind of toy that was illegal to sell in UK. And because he had global shipping turned on, they shut his account down. Come to find out, it was not the plush that was banned. eBay had misidentified it, but they still wouldn't unban him and remove the strike because he had already had a previous ban lifted because of their mistake. So you only get to fight them once. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're doing. And I started this show off saying I didn't want to talk negative tonight, but really and truly, you gotta diversify. You gotta spread yourself out and you just hit different markets. I think the days of being on just a single selling platform it's just too risky. You can lose everything too fast. Karen's at the beach. How are you?
Rob, I had some customers of mine that had been customers for years go in and just enter the exact title of what I had listed, and my listing would be 1,000 down, even though in the cycle it was 2 days from ending, the auction ending on it. And it wouldn't be an auction, it'd be a buy it now or best offer, something like that. So the algorithm really just pushed me way down to the bottom, and
and you said you were paying for the promotions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Always have it. So, when they came out with those, I started doing that. And
I only started doing that this past year, paying for those promotions, because I had a ton of good stuff listed. And none of it was selling until I turned on promotions. It depends. You've got a niche with rocks, gems, and minerals and jewelry. And man, that market on eBay for rocks, gems, and jewelry and specimens, every time I've ever looked at it, it's been saturated for years.
When I got into it in 2002, there weren't a whole lot on there selling rocks and minerals. And it was a cash cow for me for 10 years, And I got in there early and got my name built up, and super easy for me to move stuff through there. So, I mean, it was the entire cash flow of the business. That's what paid for the mine. That's what paid for, everything. It kept everything operational, the permit fees. I could, depend on that to carry me when I hit a slump. But this last, whatever they did with this algorithm really I think I had one sale last month.
Yeah. Man, that's
And
tough.
I had 200 sales on Etsy. So, you know, but again, they take a large portion of your money on Etsy. So you have to
Yeah.
really mark things up. And
Now, I don't know if you keep up with the reselling community here on YouTube, but there are some tricks to making that algorithm pick you up and keep you at the top. Like one of the things I do every morning, I check my ending today list, stuff that I've got listed that is going to end that day.
mm-hmm.
And if there's something that's been on there for 90 days or longer, and it's a good item and it's priced good, got good pictures, but it just hasn't sold, you can end that listing and do that with all of them that are ending that day. And then you can go to, you click on, well, here, I'll just show you if I can. Where's that present? I'll pull mine up if I can figure out how to share screen again. Share screen. Share screen. There we go. Share screen 2. All right, let's go here. I have to. There we go. And let's see. Let's bring up eBay. See if that works. Oh, apparently not. Let's come up here. There we go. All right. So what we're going to do is you go to listings, or if you're in your seller hub
Mm-hmm.
and you come down here to listings, you'll see ending today. I've got 6, but they probably won't show up. No, there's 2. So let's say I end this one right here. Those are some women's track shoes. We just go ahead and end that listing. Then we go back to listings and we go to ended. Let's do it from here so you can see it better. There they are right there on top of the list. Do not hit relist. What you do is you hit that down arrow and you hit sell similar.
Oh,
And it'll bring it back up with your pictures and everything. You just make sure, double check all your information. Make sure you didn't have any errors in the listing. Like for instance, I have an error in this listing. It's right here in the title. These are not black. And I think I'll take all that stuff out. I'll just take all of that out. Yeah, that's good enough. Take all that stuff out. That may be why they didn't sell, is because I had blacklisted and they're not black shoes. Price is good. Shipping is good. That's turned on. That's done. Now you just hit listed. And what that does when it's a new listing, when you sell similar, it's considered a new listing, not a relisted old listing.
Yeah.
And new listings show up higher in the algorithm listings when somebody does a search.
I probably need to go do that to everything.
Yeah, I do that, something similar to that every morning. And let's get back to StreamYard. And let's remove that. There we go. We're back on track. But yeah, if you end sell similar and do that with 5 things a day, it will keep your stuff higher in the search algorithm results. And you'll have more eyes will see your stuff. And when they see that stuff, a lot of them will say, well, let me see what else he's got.
Mm-hmm.
So
the listings that I have on there right now have probably been listed 8 months, with no sales, and I just got the auto relist, engaged on that. So I'll go do that and start.
Now there's people out there that say after 90 days, a lot of your stuff can just fall off. I've only had one item disappear that used to be listed. But if you check that end list, listings ending today list every single day, every morning, one of the first things I do. If I've got something that's been listed for over a year and hasn't sold, and I've checked it, double checked it, everything is right, and it's just not selling, I'll pull it completely off.
Gotcha.
Just get rid of it. And I'll either create a whole new listing from scratch, or I'll find a different way to sell that item, or I'll just get rid of that item. Hey, Jennifer, I don't remember if I said hello or not. But yeah, eBay's getting to be a lot more work. It used to be list it, forget it, and it would eventually sell. But it's gotten so they've overcomplicated it all.
Yeah.
But, let's see. But it's doing this reselling thing. It's a mess. It takes a little while to get a hold of it, get a hang on it, and get the hang of it, I should say. Can't speak tonight. But there's a little thing I used to tell people that success is not a goal that you can reach. It's not, you cannot own success.
That's right.
You can only rent it, and the rent comes due every day. It's just, and eBay has become that. That's the epitome of eBay. You got to constantly learn. Every time they update something, you got to learn it and integrate it. And if it's like those promotions. There's a lot of people out there that absolutely do not use promotions. But I found every time they come out with something new, it's best to just go ahead and learn it and use it. Because if you're not going to use the tools they give you, they're going to spend more time pushing the people who do use the tools they give out. And the tools can be stupid, they can be silly, but if that's what I got to do to get the sales, that's what I got to do.
That's right.
And there's some another thing I'm looking into. There's a couple of apps out there that they call them cross listing. One of them is called Flip, and it's free. It's FLYP. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. And if anybody's got a Flip account and they can, or a Flip, or they want to drop the link to Flip in the chat, that'd be appreciated. But what it is you go to one website, you load up all your pictures and descriptions and item specifics right there, and it'll list it to all of your selling accounts that you have. All at the same time. And then when you sell something on one platform, it'll send you a message and tell you, hey, it sold on this platform. And then you can delist it from Flip from the other platform. So you don't end up selling it in multiple places.
Oh, that would be great.
Now, it's not automatic. You still have to manually delist it, but you can do it from Flip, and that's free. And the other one is called List Perfectly. And that one you have to pay a monthly fee on. I think they've got a couple of different levels. The lowest is $20-something a month, but they do roughly the same thing. Yeah, Ping, I was the same way. I resisted doing it. I didn't want to give them one extra dime, but I would rather give them 10 cents of a sale than to settle something that's not selling. Variety Flipper is in the house. This, last time I was on was a very short live. Brought up how much money you need to make to actually make profit. So by the time you pay your eBay fees, your promotional ad fees, your shipping, all of that, if you're doubling your money, you're losing money.
Absolutely.
It's a percentages game. If you're only doubling your money by the time you get done paying a percentage of the gross, then you take out your cost of goods, and then you pay taxes on what's left, a lot of times you're losing money. You don't really start making even a little bit of profit till you hit 4 times the money. And really, my bare minimum when I'm out there buying is 5 times the money. At 5 times the money, 20% of the gross ends up being pure profit after taxes, after fees, after logistics, supply, everything. And that's called total cost accounting. That's one of them things a lot of people just don't understand. Chris, you going to Tucson this year?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to make it this year.
Yeah.
I'd really like to go to
make
Fort.
it together one year.
Yeah, we do need to do that.
Or at least Denver.
Jeff was talking about getting us all together.
Yeah.
Last time I talked to him.
I need to call him. Folks, a lot of us old miners, we all know each other and we stick together. We're all old school too. When something comes up, we get on the phone, call one another.
That's right.
I'm sure there's a bunch of the resellers that do the same thing. Hell, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I only found out about reselling 2 years, a little over 2 years now. And I don't know why it never occurred to me. I've been selling watches and jewelry, and every once in a while, a little bit of this, that, or the other as I had it. But it never occurred to me to just go to a thrift store, find something, buy it cheap, bring it home, put it on eBay, sell it, make a profit, and then go do it again. I've sold, like my daughter, when she'd outgrow a video game console or some games or whatever, I'd sell that for her and was always surprised at how much money it'd make. Like hunting equipment, reloading equipment, fishing gear, tools of one type or another. Every once in a while I'd sell one of those, but it just never clicked to turn it into a business. eBay was just a way to make a few extra bucks to help pay the bills. Being a watchmaker, I come across a lot of old watches and I'd fix them up, throw them on eBay and make me some money. I'd save up a dozen or so and sell those at the end of the year towards Christmas for extra Christmas money. But yeah, this reselling thing is a whole new game for me. Oh, Chris, you still using any of the overseas cutting houses?
I haven't in a while. I've been cutting my own stuff. I retired in 2020, so I've been doing my own cutting, and I get a lot more for the stones if I cut them. So I haven't
probably
seen
get a lot better quality in the cutting too.
Yeah, a whole lot better. I do still get spears, rose quartz spears, the star ones made down in China. I'll ship them, 100 kilos of rough and live with what they send back because I never get what what I should get back out of them. But
hey, are you in the chat right now?
Me?
Yeah. Are you on your phone or are you on a computer?
I'm on my phone.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to try and drop your link to your Instagram page.
Okay.
Crystal Empire. There we go. Folks, if y'all want to see some just amazing gemstones that are mined right here in America, and you or even want a chance to go and dig them yourself, check out the Crystal Empire. This is one of the few places in America where you can actually go and dig your own gemstones. There's experts on hand to tell you what you found, help you get it cut, help anything you want to do with your gemstones. Chris here can help you.
That's right.
So, and like I said, if treasure hunting's treasure hunting to me. When I'm out in the thrift stores or at the Goodwill bins or the yard sale, that's treasure hunting to me.
Me too.
I'm out there digging in the dirt, breaking rock, breaking my back. That's treasure hunting.
That's right. I'm trying to get an amethyst mine started. I bought that property right next to Jackson's Crossroads.
Yeah.
And did a little bit of prospecting there. We found 27 crystals, just cut some fire breaks through. And we found 27 crystals just pushing the dirt. So one of them was as big as a football. So seems like it's going to be there. And it's got that real grape jelly purple about it too. So the one that was as big as a football was double terminated, white in the middle and purple on both ends. So
Man, you have to send me some pictures of that thing.
Yep.
I was kind of hoping Rachel Strickland would stop in. Her and her kids are big time rock hounds, and I sent them a care package a month or two back. Now they can't wait to get out here to Oregon to go rock hounding with me.
I bet.
But they might be closer to you. They live in Missouri.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're about 10 hours away.
Hey, Red Dirt Picker, how are you? We got a different kind of treasure hunter here tonight. We got a gemstone miner. His name's Chris Painter. I dropped the link to his Instagram page there. If you get a chance, go check him out. Do you send out offers?
Offers?
Chris? Yeah.
What's that?
Well, when you put when you create an eBay listing, you can turn on accept offers.
I do that on Instagram too. I'll put a picture of it on my Instagram and tell them, the links in the bio to the Etsy shop or whatever. So when I'm up in the shop making something, as soon as it's done, it's going live on Instagram. So, and I do that with eBay. I think I'm only hitting Twitter on eBay though.
When you create the listing on eBay itself, there's a spot on there where you can turn offers on or off, and so people can send you offers. Like if you have something listed for $100, they can offer it for $75.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also on your seller hub, it'll tell you whether or not you got any listings that you can send interested buyers in. Like somebody saves it to their watch list, you can send them an offer for 5, 7, 10, 15, 20% off.
That's right. I do that now. I do that every morning.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things I do when I get up is go send those offers out.
I do it throughout the day. As soon as I see that something's available for me to send an offer out on, I go ahead and send it, because there's only a couple of reasons they would save it to their watch list.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is they're still shopping. They're looking to see if they can find one cheaper. Number two, they ain't got the money right now.
Right.
But if it's the case of number one, where they're still shopping, see if they can find one cheaper. If you go ahead and send them the offer immediately, they might say, "Oh, hey, yeah, shoot, yeah, I'll go ahead and buy this one. I'm not shopping anymore."
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you don't send them that offer immediately, they might actually find one somewhere else that's a little bit cheaper, even if it's $1 or less, and they'll go ahead and spend the money over there.
Gotcha.
So I send them offers out as fast as I can. Another reason I turn the accepts offers on is because when people are doing searches, especially when the search results is just huge, there's a spot over on the left where they can shorten that list, their search results, by sellers who accepts offers. And that gets rid of everybody except people who will accept offers. You don't have to accept their offer.
Right.
If you turn that function on, it puts you above the people who don't accept offers, if people actually trim down their search results that way.
I got you. That's another good thing about eBay is the user interface as far as putting a listing up is so much simpler than Etsy. I mean, I can put a listing up in a minute and a half on eBay, and sometimes it's 10 minutes on Etsy to, add the tags and get everything to go through. And on Etsy also, if you're not posting something every 3 days, or 3 items a day, 3 items a day is like where the algorithm wants you to be. But if you go without posting something for 3 days, your stuff won't show up, so it's super important to get on there every day and let them see you working, I guess.
Yeah. Ebay's the same way, man. And eBay says, a lot of people say eBay's minimum is 5 a day. But if you do that first trick I taught you where you end a listing and then sell similar, if you do that 5 times a day, there's your 5 listings a day. They don't have to be brand new.
Yep.
You just got to trick the algorithm into believing they're brand new.
Yeah, I certainly
The
learned
more
something.
active you are, the better. And I don't know if that's truly a computer algorithm or if it's a organic algorithm. It just your stuff's up from more available to be seen, or a combination thereof. eBay will never say.
Mhm.
Hello, Landshark. How are you? Yeah, with that multi-quantity thing, I never do it with the multi-quantity listings. I just leave those running. Like if you can put like if you have 10 items that are identical, you create a listing and you put in the quantity 10. And so as they sell, you don't have to create a new listing every time
That's
one
right.
sells. It just the quantity available goes down.
That's right.
Don't do in sell similar on that. If you do, double check that your quantity is right.
Gotcha.
I've had a couple of times where eBay, you should always check those quantities anyway. Go do an inventory every time that comes up at ending today, because I've had a couple of those types of things where the quantity counter wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I caught it because I'd sell one and it would say there were 5 more available. And I'd go to pull the one and it was the last one. So I'd have to go physically end that thing and reset the quantity to 0.
I got you. I do very little of that quantity. So most of my items are,
they're unique
one of
anyway.
a kind, unique. Yeah.
But you
But
could put,
I have done that with like the spheres that we have made,
yeah. Well, you can do things like 1 kilo bags of smalls.
Yeah.
And then every time you put another kilo together, you just go change the quantity, or every time you sell one, just double check your quantity is correct. Now, I always leave I don't always leave the counter on. Or here's how I do it. Beginning of the month, as I can send offers out, I'll send them out at 5%, and I will leave counter offers turned on. The second week of the month, 7%, and I'll still leave counters on most things. And each week of the month, I send my offers out at a little bit higher percent off. But that last week of the month, it's always 20% off, and I turn the counters off because I'm already at the spot where I'm breaking even with the 20% off offer. And I don't send offers out on that for everything, but it's kind of a soft rule of thumb there. If it's something that's been hanging out forever and I got no money in it, then I'll leave it on. But reading the comments over there and trying to keep up with the. Where am I at? There we go. I got 2 different screens going nowadays. I got my great big screen so my blind self can see, but the computer with the camera on it's over here. So I'm still getting used to it. And my wireless mouse, if I don't use it after 30 seconds, I have to turn it back on. So I'm over here squirreling. I got 2 screens. I'm trying to watch both screens and find my cursor. Then I realize, I got to turn it back on.
My eyes decided to start going bad this last year too. You see my glasses. I've never needed that. It's truly frustrating to have to dig in the mud and dirt with glasses on and the
I know.
elements that stay fogged up all the time. It's but I went to the eye doctor and asked them about getting a lens replacement. They said, well, they need to go where they're going to go before we do that, or we'll be right back in there doing it again the next year.
Yeah.
So.
Colin's on the move. You be careful driving and paying attention to this mess. Get home safe. Yeah, I started wearing these things, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And I used to be, all I needed them for was reading up close. But now, I started out with a 1.5 or so. Now I'm up to like 3.25 on these cheaters.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go get me some real glasses because it's got to where I can barely read street signs.
Well, I got some real ones and I lost them the day I got them, so I started buying them. The $1.50 glasses at the dollar store.
A couple of years ago, I went and got some prescription readers. They didn't work no better than the cheap ones. And that was, I went to Tucson that year and I shoved them in my pocket. And it was a pearl snap. And the back of that pearl snap button scratched the living mess out of the lenses. Brand new glasses, $150 down the tube.
Yep.
Like, no, I just go buy 4 packs of Foster Grants.
Yeah, those I lost were $400 glasses. So
Hey,
I just go buy 10 pairs of the cheap ones now.
Yeah.
Put them on every table I sit beside and in my truck.
Yeah. I used to buy them dollar store ones, but a lot of times them things break in a week. So I don't go buy the most expensive ones I can find, but the Foster Grants seem to do me pretty good. I can get a 4-pack of them for about $23.
That's good.
And then they last me a pretty good while. I don't know if you can make it out on the screen, but right there, that poster on the wall is that's a poster I've been toting around since I was a kid. That's all the rocks, gems, and minerals and fossils that can be found in Texas.
That's awesome.
Oh, let's see. What do I got that right here? I got my buffing machine right there. Let's see. I thought maybe I had one of your gemstones in right here close by. There it is. There it is. Chris, I don't have one here sitting right here where I can get to them easy. I imagine I could look around. Well, folks, we're talking about the kind of stuff that Christopher mines, and one of the things we were talking about was tourmaline. I am going to sacrifice one of my shipping labels. I'll show y'all what a tourmaline looks like. And that's what it looks like. That's a pink one. And it's terminated.
That's a cutie there.
Yeah, it's trying to remember where I got that one. That might be one of Jeff's.
Yeah, it looked like Ocean View.
But I think this one come out of the old spoils for the Pala Chief. So there's a good chance. Who would him? Oh shoot, Dr. Coons, and who was the other guy that was there with Coons? Discovered the Pala Chief. Yeah, because that's where Coonsite was discovered, and I can't remember the other guy's name that was there with him.
I can't either. I sold a huge morganite crystal that he mined in the 50s.
There's that Nicolite for you. But closed C axis. There's a little piece of my fire opal that I mine. You're talking about you run into some lepidolite. Is it good carving grade lepidolite, or is it just
No,
the
real fine grain mica, but
real
purple.
fine grain?
Yeah,
About like, yeah, that's an old piece.
that's some good stuff there.
Yeah, I got it. That's a bag full of the stuff from Jeff. Little pink tourmalines. And somewhere around here, I've got a monster blue aquamarine that I pulled out from down there. Oh, there it is. Ah. Yeah, it's a pretty good size aqua terminated crystal. It's
That's a nice one.
blue barrel, I should say. It's not gem grade. There's a amethyst I mined out there at Hallelujah Junction. Get it cut one of these days. Uncut diamonds. Christopher, no, I don't have any uncut diamonds. I have handled some monster ones, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's a dark red Oregon sunstone.
That's a nice one.
There's one of Jeff's. It's kind of hard to see it. The lights blow the color out of it. That's a big pink kunzite. But that's about all I can lay my hands on right quick. Oh, except for this big pink opal. That's one of the big pink opals that come out of the spot that I discovered. And my mining partner at the time couldn't keep his mouth shut. And 3 days later, somebody claimed it. It took a little longer than 3 days, but
that ain't the first time that's happened.
Yeah. Thank you, Mama Beth. I guess if I wanted to, I could dig around in here and just come up with a whole smorgasbord of stuff to show off. But then I'd have to pack it all back away.
Yeah.
I need to get my faceting machine out and get it sent off and rebuilt. The drive motor in it, bearings have burned up in it.
Uh-oh.
I pulled it apart, repacked the bearings, put it back together. It lasted all of about 40 minutes.
Yep.
Let's see. Who bought a storage unit that they did good on? Let's see what we can. Somebody bought a good. Land Shark, was that you that got a good storage unit? There's a major lag between in the chat seeing what we're talking about. Hey, Brad, how are you? Oh, shoot, I got tons of rocks, gems, and minerals. I've been mining and cutting gemstones since 1974. Going on 50 years.
That's the year I was born, Rob.
I mined my first precious opal in 1974 down in California in a place. Back then it was called Opal Canyon. And then when the folks who had it decided to retire, they passed it on to their son, who renamed it Red Rock Canyon Opal Mine. Mm-hmm. And then the state came in and reclaimed all the land, took it away from him, and they turned it into one of those wilderness areas. No, Marie, we had it's been raining off and on all day, but yeah, nothing bad, just enough to keep it wet and miserable. But there's a rough opal. Let's see if I can get you a little better at that, folks. It's kind of hard to see the play of color in it, but that's a pretty good sized stone. This one is Australian. I do have some of the opals that we mined when I was a kid back in 74 and 75. But I've been around the world. There's some pegmatites in Sardinia, Italy, where I lived for a few years. Didn't find a whole lot, just a few little specimens here and there. Trying to keep up with the chat there. Maria, y'all, you getting rain up there or snow? Yeah, ice cream and beer don't go together too good, not Land Shark. Let's do a little checking up on somebody here. Well, my tree guy might be coming in. He came out to take a tree down in my backyard. It had a big split going up the middle of it. It's a twin trunk fir spruce. I'm still not familiar with trees up here. It's the kind of tree we don't have down in Texas. I want to find out he's one of those guys. He's got his own lumber mill. He makes the big slabs of exotic woods. He's on Instagram. He just like the reel talking about being live tonight, so maybe he'll show up. It's another type of treasure hunt, is looking for those exotic woods and burls. All the traipsing around the woods I've done, I know where there's a bunch of big burls at. He wants me to take him out and show him a couple of them. Well, shoot. Oh, well, there's another one. That's the tiger's eye that comes out of Marlborough, Australia. There was one side of the claim there where you could get different colors naturally in the stones. Blues would show up, greens and reds. And then they figured out they could heat treat them and different things and turn them colors. But this is one of the old original tiger's eyes. And I don't know if that color is showing up. It's got some streaks of the blue in it. The color treated stuff will be all that color. It won't be in streaks very often. Oh, shoot. Well, Chris, I don't know about you, but I've about run out of things to talk about.
I think I have too, Ron. It's been a pleasure.
No, that's all right. Yeah, the blue is called, if I remember right, the blue is called Hawkeye.
That's right.
And I do not remember what the red is called. Or the green for that matter, but I do remember the blue is called Hawkeye instead of Tiger Eye.
Yeah, the blue mixed with gold is Hawkeye.
Yeah. That's another. I like cutting them phenomenon stones because you never really know what you're going to get until you put that final polish on them.
That's right.
I mean, you can get pretty good at guessing as far as how to orient something like the stars in your rose quartz. You guys have ever heard about the star sapphires or the star garnets? A lot of people don't know this, but some rose quartz will have a star in it. And Chris has a mine with some of the best star rose quartz in the world. In fact, yeah, let's see if I can pull this picture up. Let's do the. All right, we're going to have to do this. And see if that works. Yeah, there it is. I didn't know if I had it working right or not. That don't show off too good, does it? There it is. Star sapphire with that's just it's a phenomenon you don't see in many stones. Look through here at some of the stuff you find. There's some of your tourmaline and aquamarine. There's the rose quartz in the rough. Some good looking stuff. Christopher, rubies or sapphires? Okay, rubies and sapphires are the same stone. The mineral name is corundum. When they're red, and they got to be blood red, then it's a ruby. If they're any other color, they're sapphire. And there are a lot of red gemstones out there. There's rubellite tourmaline. There's a red Oregon sunstone. There's red garnets. So just because a stone is red does not make it a ruby. A lot of people don't know is that aquamarine and emerald are the same stone. The mineral name is beryl. It's a ore for beryllium. When it's blue, we call it aquamarine, and when it's green, we call it emerald.
And the difference is chromium.
Mm-hmm.
And we were missing the chromium at my place, unfortunately, for the emerald.
It's not that far north of you. They're in North Carolina where they do find the emeralds.
That's right. Now, we did get chromium in our tourmaline pit, so hopefully somewhere in that cave. We're only 66 feet in, and it's still producing at 90. We did shoot across, and it's still producing at 90, so hopefully when we get down in there somewhere, we might get into some chromium.
Yes, emeralds and beryls are softer than corundum, rubies, and sapphires. Yep. It's been a while since I've had to rattle this off the top of my head, but diamond is the hardest. It has a Mohs hardness of 10, whereas rubies and sapphires have a Mohs hardness of 9. However, a diamond is 149 times harder than a sapphire or a ruby.
That's right.
Whereas emeralds and beryls, they're an 8, are they not? Or a 7?
7 on the aquamarine and an 8 on the emerald.
Yeah. And it's directional. So one face of a crystal might be 7.5, the other one be solid 7. So there's a lot of tests. You hear people all the time talking about how to identify amongst people finding jewelry at thrift stores and pawn shops and yard sales and stuff. Everybody goes by the black light. And I'm here to tell you, folks, that is the absolute worst way to identify a gemstone, be it real or fake, because every species of gemstone out there does occasionally have a mineral additive or inclusion in it that will cause it to fluoresce under black light. So just because it fluoresces under a black light does not mean it's real and does not mean it's fake, period. when you're testing gemstones, there's a whole slew of tests. Black light can be part of it. Hardness is part of it. Specific gravity is another part of it. The crystal habitat, how the crystals form and shape. It all has to be. You have to check all the boxes, not just one.
Refractivity.
The refractive index. Diamonds are double refractive. Most other gemstones are 1.5, 1.3, 1.4. Like the opal that I mine, the fire opal, is 1.4. Whereas anything quartz like amethyst or rock crystal, or smoky quartz, those will be, if I remember right off the top of my head, 1.54. Whereas my opal is 1.45. So there's a lot of different things goes into identifying a gemstone. Note, some diamonds do fluoresce. They absolutely fluoresce.
We hunted diamonds on the Skeleton Coast in Africa with a black light.
Yeah. The Hope diamond is a blue diamond that actually fluoresces red under shortwave UV light. Black lights are long wave UV light. There's also shortwave UV light. The shortwave UV light is the one that can damage your eyes. So be careful if you get that kind of light to check for gemstones.
It'll burn your skin too.
Yeah.
And they've got a mid-grade now filter. I've got an industrial one like they use in the hospital for cleaning wounds, and it's got a long, short, and medium filter on it. So
yeah, I had one somewhere. It was considered medical quackery, but I had a UV light that actually had a dial on it where you could increase and decrease the wavelength of the ultraviolet light.
Yep, I remember that.
I never could get mine to working, and I sold it for parts on eBay. Yeah, the yellow Tiffany diamond. Folks, I'm going to tell y'all how the Hope diamond ties into reselling. The Hope diamond was donated to the Smithsonian by a man named Harry Winston. There are very, very few pictures of Harry Winston's face. Lots of his silhouette and his back, because his insurance company did not allow him to be photographed because he was known to walk around with the largest diamonds in the world in his pocket. And he would play with them until he figured out what he wanted to do with them. But he donated the Hope diamond to the Smithsonian, and the package that he sent is also in the Smithsonian. And that package, to me, is every bit as historical or as important as the diamond itself. Folks, he sent that diamond parcel post. One of the top 10 most famous and valuable diamonds in the entire world in the history of mankind. And he sent it parcel post in a small box tied up with string. No insurance, no registration numbers, no signature requirements, nothing. He just sent it parcel post, and it got there. It was even newsworthy that he had sent the Hope diamond via parcel post to the Smithsonian. Can you imagine selling anything over $500 in value through the United States Postal Service without putting a tracking number on it, insurance, hopefully? There's no way. Your item would probably not make it.
That's right. I've sold and donated to the Smithsonian, and every item that I've ever had offered up to them, they paid for my travel expenses and put me in a hotel so that I could deliver it personally, and got to go down in the basement of the Smithsonian and look at the things that don't get put on display a few times.
Yeah. The guy who runs the mineral part of that, he got mad at me. I found the world record terminated, fully formed crystalline Oregon sunstone with color. To the best of my knowledge, it's the only one like it ever found. 320 carats. By the time he caught wind of it and got to, Jeff brokered the deal for me to have it put in the Crystal Bridges Museum. But by the time he caught wind of it being up for sale, the woman who runs the Crystal Bridges Museum had already bought it. He was 5 minutes late. He sent word to me if I ever found another one to let him know. I have one that's 1,100 carats right here in this room, and I can't get that sucker on the line. And I think it's a different guy now.
Yeah.
But I still have it.
Charles Willett was who I was dealing with, and I think he passed away 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but Charles Willett and I bought Jean Dixon. She was a very famous psychic. We bought her collection, but what was funny about that is I was selling Charles rocks and crystals for years, you know, and he was turning around and selling them to Jean Dixon. And then when she passed away, she left a note that said, "Sell these back to Charles Willett." So he called me and he said, "Well, I don't have enough money." And I get up there and it's all the crystals I've sold Charles. He was selling them to Jean for a profit. So
they were reselling.
that's right. We got her crystal ball as well, but we donated that back to the Smithsonian. And she actually predicted that Donald Trump would become president in 2020.
Well, so did the Simpsons, but
yeah, there's a lot going on with that Simpsons stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think we've been on here long enough tonight. I think we're going to call it right there. Chris, don't go anywhere. We're going to shut this show down. Hey, I want to thank everybody for coming by tonight. And we'll be right back here again next Wednesday night. And maybe we'll talk about reselling then. All right, everybody. Good night.
Good night.